Hello everyone and welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV for your daily lunchtime stream. We're in the midst of a transfer window which has just opened, and you know Chelsea love a good transfer window. Not necessarily good, but a dramatic one, and it looks like we have one underway again. So hello to everyone, thanks so much for joining me. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV. Get involved in the chat as we talk about the latest transfer news at Chelsea. Never a dull day, guys. Never a dull day. Hope you can hear me and see me okay. And yeah, let's get straight into it. A lot is happening, and at the same time, nothing is happening. But we are literally starting our Club World Cup campaign next week, people. And we were told that we'd have quite a few moves in and between the time that the season ends and obviously the transfer window opens and the time that we start the Club World Cup. So we know that we want additions. We obviously will see outgoings, but at the moment, I think we're going to prioritise bringing a few players in to help us in the Club World Cup. Now, it has, of course, been... Shall we take it from the start? Shall we take it from the start? Because, of course, we knew and understood that Liam Delap was the first incoming of this window, and it is basically done and wrapped up. The only thing we are awaiting is the announcement, the official announcement, of course, from the club. But the agreement and the contracts and everything and all the paperwork seems to be complete. So we're just waiting on that green light. But 30 million is what was agreed. It's pretty much low risk. I wasn't too warm to the idea of Liam Delap on his own, but I'm open-minded to see what the player can do. And yeah, just to refresh the front line a little bit isn't going to be so bad. But away from Liam Delap, that was no surprise because we knew and anticipated that there would be a centre forward coming to the club, perhaps even two, but we'll wait and see what happens regards that second striker. But something that did surprise us, or at least myself, was a big interest from our behalf to a goalkeeper, and not just any goalkeeper, a good one, a very good one. And I say that because we have been spending money left, right and centre for goalkeepers. We always get bantered about how many goalkeepers we have in our books, and it never struck me that Chelsea would be in for a goalkeeper at all this summer. So I am pleasantly surprised, and I think we all echoed that thought, because for us to have some solidity and some actual calmness at the back is such a welcome thing. Robert Sanchez, for those of you who have watched the channel and have heard us talk about Robert Sanchez before, he is not really a favourite, is he? He never really has been able to win our hearts, and clearly by seeing this interest from the club to go in for a goalkeeper there, they obviously clearly see that too. And we always said Robert Sanchez might be enough for top four, just about, but nothing above that. So for next season, with our aims, with what we want to do, you know, in terms of be competitive in the league, be convincing, at least have a little bit more you know, solidity, then it is absolutely a requirement to go for a better goalkeeper. And to be fair, at least we have seen that there is interest there. Now, that story very, very quickly developed, because as soon as we found out that, you know, Maignan is available, that Milan would like to do business, he would also like to go to a club that has Champions League football to offer. He's 29. He very much recognises that at his level, at his age, you know, it is probably best to go somewhere where he can play in the Champions League. You know, it's not a bizarre thing to think. He has truly given it his all. Milan have had a poor season for their standards, so he would like to go and try something new. And to come to the Premier League at a time where it is certainly getting competitive. You know, you see Liverpool have also obviously signed, with Kelleher leaving, they'd already signed Mamadashvili last year, and he's going to be their new addition. So goalkeepers are a very important position, and it's one that we shouldn't neglect. So this prospect of Mike Maignan coming to Chelsea was certainly very appealing. Now, I'd be interested to know your thoughts, but in my opinion, that is definitely a signing that you go for and that you negotiate well in. Now, since the initial interest and since the initial expression from the player himself, who was keen to come to Chelsea, we have then had a new report from this morning, which I will share here with you. I'm sure you guys have already seen it. And of course, yes, where is it? Yes. And of course, some fans have initially said, yeah, we knew it was too good to be true, or, you know, we were never in for Mike Maignan in the first place, or this is just a stun, and there's so many differing opinions. It's really, really interesting to see. But let me just get this here up for you to see. Obviously, Fab has shared this a few hours ago. But since our initial interest, and since knowing and learning that Milan are pricing him at about 25 million, or as it says there, 30 million, it has been revealed that Chelsea actually disagree with that valuation and would certainly say they're open to more of a 10 million euro as a fee. Now, it's really interesting, and I'm not going to be quick to jump to conclusions here, but we can definitely discuss the differing possibilities of this situation. Now, I think, for one, obviously, people will say that we are just simply negotiating and that we perhaps have the better stance in this deal and in this negotiation, because they would be keen to, get rid of him isn't a very nice word, but definitely to move him on. His contract obviously expires in 2026, so that is also a factor that does come into play when considering the ins and outs of this deal. However, what does surprise me here is that Chelsea won't wait any longer than Monday, as they're also happy with 4 goalkeepers in their squad. Now, initially, this is the thing that actually stunned me, because I never even thought that we would be in for a goalkeeper this summer, as mentioned. But, you know, when you are told that there is a deal available there to sign this goalkeeper for 25 million, it doesn't, in my opinion, get any better than that in terms of feasibility. We do have that money, and we certainly do have that money to strengthen a position on the pitch that we definitely need upgrading in. Now, fine, Chelsea believe that the 4 goalkeepers there are enough and better, but for what expectation next season? Because none of them are complete, none of them are ready-made, and none of them have played at the level that, you know, a player like Mike Maignan has. So, a goalkeeper, might I add. So, I certainly think that when you're assessing the advantages and disadvantages of this, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Now, I think from Chelsea's perspective is, why on earth would we turn our nose up at this deal at 25 million for Mike Maignan if they don't believe that the goalkeepers we currently have are certainly enough for us to compete and challenge perhaps for not next year, but the year after, if that's what they have in mind, or the next 5 years. I don't really know what they have in mind at this rate. But for us, this is a clear upgrade. And I certainly do think that him coming in, I maybe understand from Chelsea's perspective again that with his contract expiring, they might want to get themselves an even better deal with this, or, you know, because we're not in for an actual goalkeeper, that it doesn't really matter, and we wouldn't actually go out of our way to bring him at that fee. But again, it's a clear improvement on what we already have. So 25 million to be deemed as extortionate when we justify that price tag for unproven players and project players and what if players and upcoming players, and you get the gist, players, is, yeah, it doesn't really make sense to us fans. But let's not be quick and rash to already think that this is completely out the window. If I have to be completely real with you guys here, I think it is pretty much out the window. And I think that because Chelsea was never interested in really going in for a goalkeeper this year, and we've pretty told like a million times about this, that yeah, they'll probably just walk away, especially knowing that other teams surely are going to be in for him at that price tag. You know, how have we paid 20, 30 million for a guy like Robert Sanchez, who came in with nowhere near the good CV that Maignan has at this current moment in time? So yeah, sorry, it just makes me laugh because we obviously know that us as fans, we're in a very different mindset about signing players, and we're still getting on board with the new model and what that means for signing players. So yeah, I don't really believe that this is ever going to prosper. Could be wrong, but just not even me losing my head. I just am looking at this very objectively, very rationally. I'm putting myself in their minds. I don't think it's happening, guys. But let's have a look and see what some of you guys think. I see, you know, very, very differing opinions here. And, you know, it's rightfully so. Football opinions always differ. It ain't happening. It's all nonsense. 10 million valuation reflects sanity. Crazy hearing him described as world class. He's not. Petrovic has proven himself, or is that too straightforward and simple? Very interesting take here from Tyler, who says 10 million is also absolutely fine. Fats, big up to you. Karma, like Mike is on his way. I don't think he is, mate. I don't think he is. See, here we go. Kieran says 10 million isn't serious. Certainly, again, you have to look at the market, and you absolutely have to look at what's out there and what's on offer. We have been, or at least have expressed interest for this goalkeeper before. He's certainly had links with us. I think then, you know, it was very, very different stance. We didn't have, you know, we didn't actually have Champions League football to offer. A very, very different state that we were in as, you know, as a club, as where we were. So it is certainly a completely different time, and you've got something there to show for the actual player. But yeah, no, there you go. This is exactly what I mean, that we're spending 20 mil for Chukwuemeka, 20 mil for Kellyman, and getting stingy to pay 20 million for Maignan. This is certainly a very, yeah, it's a very sensible take, I think, because you do see that money get justified for these players. That just tells me, it screams, guys, this exactly screams that Chelsea aren't really serious and aren't bothered about signing a goalkeeper. So it doesn't matter to them. And it's almost like, okay, great, you know, if we do it for 10 million, then cool. If not, then nah, see you later, mate. Never really wanted a goalkeeper this summer transfer window. And that's the only justification I can give for them walking away and like turning their nose down at a 25 million signing. It really, really doesn't make sense. So look, there we go. We've got people thinking that, you know, this is a very, very possible signing. Some people feel confident. Petrovic to be our number one, Sanchez to be the backup. Mike versus Petrovic. Mike is more proven, but Petrovic has had a good season. Absolutely, you know, you are very, very right on that, and I agree. Petrovic has had a fantastic season. He certainly, his market value will have gone up too. Big up to you, Rahman. Hope you're well. Thank you so much for joining, and supporting the show. Chelsea said they are not paying 30 million for a 29-year-old. Well, of course not. We can only pay 30 million for a 19-year-old, guys. So you've got to take 10 million off there for the 10 years. You know, that's how it works. 10 years more means 10 less, right? 10 years less means 10 more. This is how the signings work, okay? So yeah, we're just not going to walk away from that. So yeah, no, it's really interesting to see how differing these opinions are. Jason also agrees with me, doesn't think this transfer will go through, not that desperate. I agree with the first half, don't necessarily agree with the second half because I think we do need a goalkeeper. Big Mike will be a Chelsea player. Chelsea looking at another kid for 11 million. Yep, guys, we know the drill. We know the drill. We know the drill. Don't get gassed, says Bob, until you see the player holding up the shirt. Yeah, you do say some truth there, mate. We know we get linked with everyone. Hello, Stephen. Good to see you in here, mate. 25 million for experience is expensive, but 85 million from proven Ekitike is negotiable. Rounds of applause. Nothing more to be said about that. Rajiv, thank you very, very much for your super chat, mate. Much appreciated for your donation. This is criminal how we're not going to get him for 25 million euros, but we then buy and rate Sanchez 25 million. Never trust these owners from day one. Yeah, you pretty much summed it up there with that. It's literally as simple as that. We're not going to justify the 25 million. He is too old for the profile of players we're going for. And again, I just don't believe that they would actually go against what this current model is. Even with Champions League football there right now, we're not going to go away from what we're already doing. And I just don't see it. How old is Robert Sanchez, by the way, guys? Can someone just tell me? I'm just trying to test the theory here, but I don't know how old he is. Shall I quickly look this up? Robert Sanchez age. He's 27 years old. Okay, so paying that much money for a 27-year-old who wasn't even Brighton's number 2 was fine. But paying for a backup goalkeeper, by the way, guys, don't get this twisted. Let's actually give them the benefit of the doubt here. And, you know, let's not forget that Robert Sanchez did come into Chelsea envisioned to be our number 2. But obviously Kepa left for Madrid that same week and he kind of instantly got promoted to the number 1. So, you know, it was kind of inevitable that he stepped up to be our first choice goalkeeper. So that's the only little slack I'll cut them there. Even though some might argue that even as number 2, he never should have really been given that position. But, you know, it is beyond me to think that a 27-year-old has been deemed good enough with all the mistakes he's been made. And when you compare him to Maignan, who is 2 years older than him, is being rated at the same value as Robert Sanchez was when we initially went in to sign him, that's not good enough. So let's pull up some logic here and again try and get inside their heads with what this really is about. Because what is it about Robert Sanchez that elevated him, and what is it about Maignan that doesn't place him at that same level right now when he's just 2 years older and is pretty much a lot better than what we currently have there in many, many departments? And, you know, if what Enzo Maresca said was true, we want to perhaps look at getting someone whose distribution is a little bit better. So that's one thing already that is instant upgrade, because we all know what Robert Sanchez's distribution has been like. So where is the logic here, guys? Seriously, this is just all I ask. 2 years older, but we cannot possibly pay the same fee for him, even though he's got heaps and heaps more experience and he can actually help us in the Champions League. What? Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. I am just, yeah, it is absolutely above me. And yeah, no, I absolutely don't know. Big up Melon CFC. I like the possible signing. Well, yeah, 10 million is an insane bit of business, but I think we should get him at around 25. Yeah, absolutely. And for all those who think this is just a negotiation thing and this is just a stunt, no, guys, we're never really ever serious about going in for a Maignan. And I just simply think it's more of a, yeah, we express interest in everyone, don't we? Do you know what I mean? Just take it with a pinch of salt, because I've slowly talked myself into believing that this was never really a serious approach, never was really a serious consideration there. It was more of a, let's have a look, let's have a sniff around, let's just maybe offer 10, just so we have him there, add him there on the books, and, you know, we'll see, we'll assess. I don't think so. And of course, you can say, even if Milan are desperate to offload him, move him on, and just, you know, crack on with their own fixing of their squad, then yeah, but they're not going to be in a position where they let him go for 10 million of that desperation. It's just simply not happening. And yeah, so just ... But there's almost 200 of you guys in here. We're almost at 20 minutes into our show. Make sure you smash the like button, guys, for the Chelsea News daily lunchtime stream, talking all transfers, currently on Maignan and the possibility, or rather the impossibility, of signing him. And it's almost like we've been thrown a treat, and it's like, yeah, you can't have it yet. Yeah, you're not going to have it. It's just there. You're going to be tricked, and you're going to be led to believe that, yeah, it could happen, but it's not happening, actually. So there you go, something to smile about, something to be happy about. It's all a distraction while we actually sort that next big wonder kid who we're saving that money for. Because, guys, let's be real, it is just simply not going to happen. It's basic business knowledge. We're not going to pay that for a 29-year-old with 1 year left on his deal. We know the model, no resale value on Big Mike. Brad's dad has got it spot on here. Brad's dad is absolutely spot on here, and this is exactly why it won't happen. This only fuels and strengthens my theory that it never ever was a serious approach. It was just very much, let's test the waters, let's have a sniff around here and see what comes of this, or just show the world that, you know, we are looking, we are trying. But no, and absolutely spot on there. So again, every bit of me, every part of me wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt that when Chelsea get back into the Champions League, then we go against things, we go about things a little bit differently from how we have been with the current model, maybe go for a few different we deviate just a little bit from what we currently do and what we currently believe in when it comes to squad building and recruiting youngsters and developing players, having project players, boosting their market value, etc., etc. And it just seems that we're still going to continue to persist down that route. And this will definitely be the prime indication, when this deal doesn't go through, that is exactly what we will continue to do. So yeah, that's it. That is it, guys. We paid for Sanchez when he was 25. Okay, that is fine, but still, the same argument still stands, you know. Donna, Miss Donna, hello, good to see you in here. Alex is not here. Mr. Alex is not here. It is Rachel's birthday today, so he's out celebrating with Rachel. Big happy birthday to Rachel. And yeah, so everyone like this video for Rachel. It's her birthday, guys. So yes, everyone like the stream for Rachel. Chelsea disagree with every price they are all the time. Yeah, that's true. We do like to negotiate things our way, but sometimes it's just a little bit absurd, isn't it? It is just a little bit absurd with how we are doing things, how we are going about things, and it just really shows that we're just not completely serious with a lot of things. So here the belief is, we'll go through what the belief is here in a second. Yeah, we did all get hyped up for nothing. It's like that meme, I hope you're hungry for nothing. That is literally it. That is this signing. That is this, well. Right then, so let's have a look to see what else we have. I mean, look, overall, just to sort of sum up this story and this potential situation, that is really not a potential situation, is from Chelsea's perspective, I completely understand why, from how they've been going about things, that this is it's not worth making this signing, because again, we are not necessarily about immediate success, because we want to constantly look ahead to what it means for the future, what project player he can be, what price tag we can have on him in years to come, how much we can boost his market value, because we're looking to make players, right? Maignan is already a player. He has already had his journey as a goalkeeper, and we will no way pay more than 10 million for a player like that. Do you know what I mean? So I understand it from their standpoint of things, because again, I certainly don't believe that we changed the model with players and how we've been going about things for immediate success. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it isn't necessarily a yeah, I just, again, it makes sense with how we've been doing things. Not that I necessarily agree with it, but it does make sense, right? They're going to look at this. He's 29. There's not much we can do there. He's not going to be sold off for anything. His contract expires next year. Yeah, that's just how they view it, isn't it? So I don't think it's happening, and fair play to Milan. I mean, why would they let him go for 10 million anyway? So that really isn't happening. Rubik's Rob says, if they can get him cheaper, why not? The ball's in our court, not Milan's. Yeah, and I don't think we're going to do anything about it, because again, I think we're very firm in our vision with these players. So that just tells you that we're not going to go for players who, like, we're not going to go for experienced players who already have a proven track record if there's no kind of better future for them, if that makes sense. Because we're looking at these youngsters, we're looking at turning them into players, we're looking at creating a squad where everybody pretty much arrives with a thin CV, with some good potential there to develop, and hopefully get them to a point where they can be competitive, challenge. So when they are in that age bracket of 25, 26, 27, they are already ready-made because of Chelsea. That is how I just think we are going about things. So even when we go out to sign our experienced players, they will just be players who, again, still quite young, maybe have had some experience in the Premier League, and that will be deemed enough. So yeah. But yeah, no negativity here, Martin. We're just simply going through the prospects. Someone here doesn't rate Maignan, thinks they like Onana. Fair enough. Okay. Do you think Chelsea used their knowledge? If Chelsea could have done a swap deal for Jorgensen or Sanchez to get Mike? No, I don't think. No, I don't think so. I certainly don't think so. I mean, Jorgensen, I think, stays. Yeah, you're not going to make any money really on what you paid for him now, and we pretty much haven't seen anything of Jorgensen either, besides a few appearances here and there. Almost kind of became our first choice in the Premier League, almost, but still something to see from him. For me, the bigger thing and the bigger interest is, what do we do with Petrovic, and what happens to Petrovic? Because that is a goalkeeper there that you can argue has had a really good developing season there, has been pretty much one of the best keepers, and has just, he's been lighting it up. And you can absolutely understand why he, as a player, can demand that he wants to be first choice, or that he wants to get regular game time. And it's just, it's like, well, what do we do? Oh, sorry, I just want to go to this comment here. I feel like you jump into conclusions based on just one Romano post about the signings possibility to be completed. Let's just wait and see. No, I literally said at the start that I'm going to look at both sides of how and why this could happen and why it couldn't. And I'm not jumping to a conclusion, but even from the very start, I just didn't really believe that we would go in for someone of his profile, and certainly because of what it means for their strategy in the transfer window. But we'll see how it plays out. Just for me, most of the factors point to the fact that it won't happen. If we can do a direct swap with Petrovic with 0 transfer fees and put a back clause for Petrovic, it would be a good deal. He wants to leave Milan, and in the last year of his contract. Yeah, maybe, but again, it seems unlikely. And oh, look who's joining me. It is Charlie, aka Fabrizio Patrick, with all the
No, stop
with
it,
all
stop
the
it.
transfer know-hows. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, all good. How's it going?
Good live show?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, nice, cool. Yeah, we've just been going through the Maignan prospect. Obviously, what this current development, if you want to call it, in terms of the valuation, being 10 million from our side of things, and we won't budge. We don't really want to go away from what our current model is. He's 29. There's not much that he can do in terms of develop. His market value isn't going to be boosted when he comes to Chelsea in years to come. He's pretty old. 1 year left on his contract. Do you think that's a fair way to look at it from Chelsea's standpoint, or are you pretty annoyed?
No, it's a bit annoying, really, because when you've got a chance to get a genuine top class player in a position that we desperately need, and he's got a year left on his contract. He's the France #1. He's a top class keeper. 25 million euros or 30 million euros, 25 million quid is not outrageous at all. Like I just don't see how that is not a good deal. Like, you should be doing whatever you can to get top class players in the important positions. We've got a brilliant opportunity here, and we're seemingly taking the piss. It's insulting to suggest that he's only worth 10 million euros. Like, it is. And whether it's a negotiating tactic or not, why has that been made public that we value him at so little? I don't get that. Look, the deal could still end up getting done, but ultimately, like, there's having a valuate. There's a gap in valuation, and then it's just like stupidity. If you hear gap in valuation, you sort of think, okay, we might be 5 million apart. They might want 25, but we're offering maybe 15 or 20. But to be offering 10 when they want 30 is it's ridiculous, in my opinion. It could still happen, by the way. It could still happen, no problem. But the fact is, the last 2 times that we went in to try and close deals for top players, we fucked it. Elise and Osimhen. We couldn't do it. And now we've got an opportunity here, seemingly an open goal, to sign a player who makes a considerable improvement to us. And it doesn't really look like we're too serious on it right now.
What do you think about this? Is he way better than Petrovic?
He's better than Petrovic. I mean, I don't know if way better is necessarily true, but he's certainly better than Petrovic. Ultimately, look, I'd love it if Maignan comes. If he doesn't, I would also be happy with Petrovic being in goal. However,
that's what concerns me, because would he
what?
Would Petrovic is quite ambiguous still. It's not necessarily set on the fact that, he's back and he's our #1.
No, but if we don't sign Maignan, I think it would be. I think he obviously would be the #1. Petrovic is not coming to be #2.
Of course, he shouldn't be either.
So basically, Petrovic is either going to be #1 or we're cashing in on him. He's not coming to be #2. If Maignan signs, Petrovic is done. He'll be cashed in on. Simple as that. But look, this is not too good to be true, but it's a little bit concerning that the gap in valuation is so big. But I guess it's the way we do it. But I just don't see how, as a top club, you could look at someone like Maignan, even with a year left on his contract, and think he's worth £8.5 million.
Yeah, no.
It's not even like Milan are asking for 50 or 60 million quid. They're asking for £25 million. I personally don't even feel that's an outrageous price. That's not overpaying at all.
No, it's not. But in their eyes, it is, because he's 29.
Yeah, but 29 is not old for a goalkeeper.
It's old for a goalkeeper to come to Chelsea right now at this current moment. We both know it. Regardless his position, he's 29. How many 29-year-olds have we signed since Clearlake took over?
We haven't. But the point is, though, is that 29 for a goalkeeper is not old. Goalkeepers don't really get into their best until it could be mid-30s. You know, like 29 is not old to sign a goalkeeper. I just look, people disagree, but I just don't see how £25 million is not a great deal for him. I just don't get it.
That because I mean, if I was any other club right now and I saw that this is how Chelsea are negotiating, or at least what this kind of public now value that we've placed on Maignan is, I'd be straight in there for him, presenting that 25 on the table and calling it a day. Because there's a lot of clubs that would benefit from having a Maignan in goal next season, and it'd be absurd not to go for it, because like you said, it's not an extortionate fee, especially for a goalkeeper. You know, we know that goalkeepers can go on for a little bit longer. It's not exactly like, yeah, he's completely done and he's on a decline. I think he's still very good, but you know, from our side of things, I'm just pretty much trying to get into their head of how we would completely view this, and they'd think, nah, because I don't think we were ever even really serious about going in for a goalkeeper this summer anyway. It's more like this arose, it's a market opportunity, let's have a look, let's see what comes of it, but ultimately we're not going to be so persistent in this that we pay what they want.
What I'm saying is, though, if we were serious, we would have paid the 25 million. Yeah. And cracked on, and this would be on its way to being done. Like that's the problem. Like, if this was Man City, for example, do you really think they're haggling for a few million quid? They're just going to pay the money and keep things moving. £25 million is not ridiculous. No. We are not getting. We're not getting Maignan for £8 million. I don't know why anyone thinks that. By the way, and I understand you're not going to go in straight away with your first offer and pay what they want, unless it's a release clause. Of course, you know you're going to try and get the price down. But all I'm saying is you shouldn't obviously pay what a club wants every time. But in this situation where actually £25 million, in my opinion, is great value for money for a player who is going to be worth a lot more than £25 million for what he would bring in terms of points and helping us move forward as a team, that's going to bring a lot more money than 25 million. I just don't get it, you know?
Well, see, I think the two biggest factors here that we're looking at is his age and the fact that he costs that with 1 year left on his deal. From our perspective, that's exactly what they think. And also paired with the fact that we were never in really for a goalkeeper this summer. Do you know what I mean? It never, ever really was making it.
Like, I think they've been open to bringing a goalkeeper in. But again, it's always been about the right opportunities. This is a great opportunity. So let's not mess it up.
Yeah, well, we shall wait and see. But everyone, we've almost got 300 of you here and we are only on 73 likes. Like the stream, guys. Come on. Literally takes you a second. Let's get to 150. If we can all hit the like button right now, that would be literally amazing. But thanks for all your support. But yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I'm sure we'll get a little bit more.
We're just not very good negotiators. That's the problem.
Yeah, we are.
How many times has Egg Barley had to step in to sort deals out for top players? He had to step in for Caicedo because we fucked about for months and months and couldn't close it. He had to step in for Enzo Fernandez because we almost wasted the entire of January trying to sign him. We're not good negotiators. That's the reality. That's why I'm worried about this. You know, I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but forgive me for being slightly concerned that we might fumble this because we are not good negotiators. That's the reality here.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it plays out, mate. I mean, to think like it was a pretty nice surprise to see that, you know, this was even a thing, and we get linked to a lot of people. So I guess that doesn't have much weight to many people these days in transfer windows. But yeah, we'll just have to wait.
At the end of the day, right? Why are fans so concerned about fucking club finances? We're not. We're just fans. We just want the players to come through the door. Like, I'm not saying go and spend ridiculous money on players where it's obviously not market value, but Why are so many fans concerning themselves with club finances? You're not accountants, you're fans. If you want the best players possible to come through the door, why do you care whether we pay 25 million or 15 million? It makes no difference to any of us. So just get it done and get these players in. Like, too many fans are trying to behave like they're fucking accountants. I just don't get it.
All right, Mr. Attitude.
No, they are though. They are. I just don't understand it. Like,
okay, right. Moving on from Mike Maignan. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho, who we say goodbye to. Yesterday, David Ornstein did report that he is leaving, and yeah, that's done pretty much. We pay the 5 million, call it quits, and just let Jadon Sancho move on with whatever is around the corner in his career. How do we feel about this? Because again, I think I was quite surprised to see that he split more opinion than actually I imagined, really. I think he's another player that we've been up and down with how we feel. But what are your thoughts, Charlie? Because I haven't spoken to you about Sancho, and we can get people's thoughts in the chat as well. Jadon Sancho, are you happy? Are you sad? Are you pretty indifferent?
No, look, probably a little bit disappointed, because I think for a squad option it could have been good, but ultimately he didn't do enough. Yeah, you can say, oh, he got 15 GNA, but if you realistically, a few of that come in the Conference League against terrible opposition. If we're really looking at Premier League and the Conference League final, in the Premier League, he didn't do enough. One assist in open play, I think, since September or whatever it is in the league. Look, he was fine, and at £5 million,
43 appearances, 10 assists, 5 goals.
Yeah, but in terms of the league, I think he scored 3 goals in the Premier League. Like, forget the Conference League, because I'm not judging someone on what they're doing in the Conference League. If we're just purely looking at the Premier League, he didn't do enough. Yeah, he was fine. He contributed in some key moments, and I would have been happy for him to be here as a squad player and a third or fourth choice option. At the end of the day, he was nowhere near good enough to come in on the money that he thinks he should have been getting, and that's it. He chose money over wanting to stay at Chelsea, and that's absolutely fine. No problem. But I do think it's a little bit of a shame.
Yeah, no, I think we could have seen a little bit more perhaps in the next season, but he seemed to just be getting comfortable. He's obviously had a pretty tough time at United. Just his move arounds have been pretty dull, but I think he had found his sort of place in the environment. He obviously got on with a lot of our players, which was nice. We've got a good group. They've got nice chemistry going, but yeah, it's almost like Jadon Sancho in many ways just reminded me of, you'd see good bits from him where he'd score a goal and that would make you feel like, oh, he was absolutely worth staying. In many ways reminds me of how we treated Mudryk when he was sort of here for the first year. Saw decent glimpses. A lot of people didn't really believe in him, but loads of people said there's potential there, and Jadon Sancho often showed us why it was worth trusting him. Gave us some nice moments, but there was also games where for large parts of it you'd be like, where is Sancho, what is he doing, sub him off or this and that, and that's just another indication that he was quite inconsistent in many regards. Perhaps wanted a little bit more output, but I just can't help but think, Sancho, again, with now a year up his belt at Chelsea, with things becoming a little bit better, back in the Champions League, could we have maybe seen a little bit more from him? Decent shot on him when he shoots, but again, I think that was the problem. He didn't really shoot that much, did he? He scored against Tottenham, which was probably one of the best goals because it was obviously inspiring our turnaround that game. He scored against Ipswich, didn't he? And who else in the Premier League did he score against? Can't remember.
I scored against Southampton in that 5-1.
Southampton, that's right, yeah. So again, perhaps could have seen a little bit more from him. But yeah, what do you think's next for Sancho then? Because
absolutely no idea.
Yeah. Where do you think Sancho could could fit, I guess, is a good question.
I don't know. I don't really care because he's not a Chelsea player anymore. So I'm not asked where he
Yeah.
goes or what he does. I mean, I wish him all the best, but I don't really have any opinion on where he's going to go next. I don't really care where he goes next, to be honest. I don't see him going anywhere in the Premier League necessarily. Probably maybe a return to Germany, maybe somewhere in Europe. But yeah, no. Other than that, I don't really have any opinions on him because he's nothing to do with us anymore. So I don't really bother wasting any time thinking about what he's going to do next.
Yeah, I mean, Jason said the whole squad was inconsistent. Was this all on Sancho? No, mate, but you're missing the point here. He wanted to get what 200-300k a week for what
he was never going to get that. He was never. The thing is, he's not getting that money anywhere. So unless he's going to run his contract down at United for free and then leave on a free, which I don't think they'd let him do. But unless he's going to do that and then go somewhere and get a large signing on fee, and maybe he thinks that he can get the wages that he's currently on, then if he, for example, if he goes to the Bundesliga this summer, we know full well that he's going to be getting significantly less than what he's on at United. And that would point to the fact that actually, do you know what? He didn't really want to stay at Chelsea anyway. Because if he goes somewhere for what we offered him, then it was obvious that he didn't want to stay at the club.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Now that we are on the bandwagon of wingers, I'll take this with a pinch of salt because not really much to it. I don't think it's going to happen. But obviously, Mohamed Kudus it's been reported, is potentially out there available. His release clause is 85 million. I don't think Chelsea will really express any solid interest, but shall we just quickly discuss our thoughts on that? I don't think we should be going anywhere near it, personally.
No, I don't think we're gonna be signing Kudus. I mean, we could have signed him 2 years ago when he was still at Ajax. I mean, ultimately we ended up signing Cole Palmer that summer, so it's not exactly like we missed out. Yeah, Kudus is available. You know, there's that £85 million release clause in his contract that's active for Premier League clubs in the first 10 days of July. But yeah, I don't really see value in that. That's for me well above what he's worth. You know, well above what he's worth. And look, we could do with a player like Kudus, to be honest, in terms of that kind of profile, in terms of like
only 85 million.
Yeah, but again, completely missing the point. Completely missing the point. It's a stupid thing to say. It's not like the whole point I was making was we're talking about £25 million deal. Like,
I don't think it was a dig at you, Charlie. It's just, you know.
No, it was because I said if we're serious, that we just paid a 25 mil for Maignan. No, but the point is though, it's just a stupid comparison because ultimately that's not value for money. Like if it was 85 million for Maignan, then it's a different conversation. But 25 mil for him is a ridiculous deal. But yeah, look, Kudus, we could do with someone like him. We could have signed him 2 years ago from Ajax, but yeah, he can be cover for the left, the right, the 10 role. He can play down the middle as well. So he could be a good replacement for someone like an Nkunku in the squad, because Nkunku and Felix are both going to go. But at that money, like that's well overpriced, massively overpriced. You know, if it was 50 or 60 million pounds, there's a different conversation to have. But
what did West Ham buy him for?
I can't remember. I don't think it was that much. I think it was about 30 million or something.
Oh, 30 million. Why did I think it was like 50, 60?
No. What I meant is he's probably worth 50 or 60, like in today's market.
For fairs. I mean, last
year.
It's
about 38 million they paid.
38. Okay, yeah. Well, that's a lot of money, but yeah, no. I think my question to whoever comes in and the criteria I set for the players that come in this summer is: are they an upgrade on what we already have? They have to be. We don't need additions. We need solutions, and we need players that upgrade us. And if he's just coming in and we already have a player like that, or is very like-minded to someone, yeah, no. we have to really, really be serious in how we approach things this summer. But hey, it's not up to us fans. We're not the ones that are making all the calls, isn't it? But yeah, I think we will just have to see how that plays out. Transfer guy, guru, Charlie, is there any other news that we have not talked about that potentially could be of importance?
Not massively. Obviously Jamie Gittins deal. I think the negotiations seem to be they seem to be advancing on that. I mean, some reports saying that Chelsea aren't in a rush to do it before the Club World Cup. Others saying that it could be done before the Club World Cup. Yeah, it's not a particularly exciting signing, to be honest, but the left winger market is not very good. And it's literally a textbook Chelsea signing. It obviously ticks all the boxes and whatnot. But if they don't get him in before the Club World Cup, then there's a possibility he wouldn't play any football until August, which is not ideal. Because I think June 10th is the cut-off for registering players for the Club World Cup to take part. I don't know if you can then make changes to your squad after the group stage for the knockout phase. But again, if that is the case, then you might only be getting 1 or 2 games, depending on how far we go. Yeah, you know, that's kind of it. Not really much more to say on that. But it doesn't make, if Chelsea want Gittins, it makes no sense to not do it before June 10th, because the Club World Cup is basically
it's literally like next week.
It's going to be the bulk of the pre-season. So why would you not want him in? Why would you not want players in for that? Because otherwise you run the risk of them having a bit of a disjointed pre-season.
Yeah.
The first game's June 16th. Yeah, we go from there. But look, hopefully, I'm not that excited by Gittins, but look, if we're going to sign him, just get him in to give him the best chance of hitting the ground running and giving him the most time with the squad and that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's very difficult to be excited about unproven players. I think, obviously, following PSG's dominant display in the final against Inter, a lot of people have now said, well, look, when you do assemble some youngsters and they put together world-class performances like that, the very, very best out there, then there is something worth trusting. And apparently our model is amazing now because we might resemble that. Hey, but, you know, I mean, it's really, really tough, isn't it, when you absolutely know that you need levels above. I'm not saying that our players aren't good enough. I'm saying that our players certainly do need players coming in that will upgrade them, that will play to their strengths as well, that will have better output, especially in the front line. Like, I know that we expected goals from Sancho's and Neto's this year, perhaps, you know, a lot more. And that's why we almost kind of decided to turn a blind eye to, again, not bringing in another striker. But it's just simply really not proven to be that great, has it? Obviously, we've been linked with players like Ekitike as well, who, in my opinion, is also rated at madness of a price tag. But in this market, it's pretty much like as expected now, isn't it? This is what the current market is.
Yeah, it is, but we're not going to pay that.
No,
so, again, I think it's very clear that Chelsea obviously like Gittins, but unless the price comes down, the deal's not going to happen. But I do agree that Ekitike is absolutely not worth the 100 million euros that Frankfurt are asking for. We obviously won't pay that. Even if we got it down to 70 million pounds, I think they're asking for 84 million. So even if you were able to get it down to 70 somehow, I still don't think that represents a good deal for someone who obviously was very good when he was coming through at Reims, didn't work out at PSG, went to Frankfurt, has had a decent season at Frankfurt this season. This is really his first sort of breakout season, as it were. It's got ability, sure. I'm just not entirely sure on it in terms of the price and like what he would bring. But again, ultimately, you are looking at a similar price for these kind of forwards. You are looking at between 60 and 70 million for the likes of Ekitike, for Gyökeres, for the other guys that are on the market. That's kind of what we're looking at. But I think he's too expensive. personally.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, I think we will get someone else. But again, like there was a Matt Law report saying that Ekitike might not necessarily come in as someone who would play down the middle. He'd offer an option from out wide or offer an option from deep, as well as being able to play down the middle. So I'm not necessarily thinking like if Gittins comes in, I don't think that might be the only winger signing, but the next one will be probably someone who's going to be looked at as an Nkunku and Felix replacement. Sort of type of player, someone that's kind of versatile across the front line. Ekitike ticks those boxes, but he's not, for me, he's not worth the money. And I think it's quite obvious that Chelsea aren't going to pay that money.
Yeah, no, certainly. And we should be steering clear from paying that. It's absolutely absurd. But what do we think about the Club World Cup, everyone? Who's excited? Another trophy on the table. Another campaign there for the Blues to win.
I'm sort of quite looking forward to it. I mean, it's obviously gives us some football in the summer, which is always good. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see some of the new players. It'll be interesting to see some of the loanees returning, the likes of Santos, etc. You might see Kendry Paez, might see Mamadou Sarr, Penders, etc. So I'm looking forward to that. Look, the group games aren't that exciting. The quality of teams is not the best. But I'm looking forward to it. And it's going to be basically our pre-season pretty much. So I think there's a lot of important things to look out for.
No, yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see some of the new players, the youngsters. It's an exciting time for them to play some football, see what we've got, get excited about the next big thing and why Chelsea can win the Premier League next season. And we know that we've reached the end of the show when we become a bit delirious, or me at least, myself. But yeah, no, do you think we have a realistic chance of winning it?
I'd probably say no. Because you look at Real Madrid's, PSG's, Man City's, etc. Those kind of teams are better than us. But it depends who we come up against in the knockout rounds. And you just don't know what's going to happen in one-off games. But I think if everything goes according to plan, we'd probably be on track to play PSG in the quarterfinals. And I would be very surprised if we were able to get past them. But look, let's wait and see. You never know in these knockout competitions what can happen. But let's wait and see. There's also I was just having a quick scroll on Twitter. There's also another update on the Maignan deal. I think this must be from a YouTube video or something from Fabrizio. But basically saying Chelsea's view is that they'll only do the Maignan deal on their conditions. AC Milan's position is he's one of the best in the world and he's worth £25 million. Chelsea will only do Maignan deal at their conditions. Let's see what happens. That basically means let's see what happens equals Sanchez in goal match day 1 next season. That's pretty much what that means. So again, look, this could be just classic negotiating tactics, but that doesn't really sound particularly promising on Maignan, that we're only going to be doing it on our terms. In which case, it's not going to happen because Milan aren't going to give us our terms.
Yep, sounds pretty right to me. Yes, exactly what we spoke about at the start. For those that were here at the very, very beginning, it's pretty expected. Again, just to sort of echo what I said at the start, I don't think we were ever in for a goalkeeper just because it was an opportunity there in the market. We decided to investigate, see what comes of it. But at the end of the day, we were always going to want to do it in our own terms because for, again, his age, what it means, the fact that he's got 1 year left on his deal, and from Chelsea's standpoint, it's not an interesting signing to make because it's not going to be a player that we can develop and say, there we go, guys, this is a Chelsea-made signing in 5 years' time, because that's pretty much the route we're going down in. So sorry to sound sarcastic about it, but in my opinion, it's just really not going to happen unless Milan somehow actually say, you know what, fine, have him for 10 mil, which I don't think is going to happen because...
No, I'd be shocked if that happened.
No way. So yeah, I don't really think it's a deal that will prosper, but at least, you know, they can turn around at the end and say, well, there you go. Don't say that we don't look and investigate experience, because we did, but there's terms to everything and there's a limit to everything as they view things. So that's just how I view it, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to happen. And, I think Milan will still value their player a little bit and know that there are other clubs that could potentially come in to negotiate too. And they can meet somewhere in the middle because, again, it's not bizarre to pay 25 million for a player like him, for a goalkeeper.
No, it's not.
Like him.
It's, I just can't understand anyone's trail of thought that thinks that 25 million is overpaying for Maignan. I don't get that personally. Maybe they'll take the gamble. Maybe they'll take the gamble on losing him on a free and try and convince him to sign a new deal. It's that's not impossible. That isn't beyond the realms of possibility. But if what Fabrizio is saying is true, that Chelsea will only do it on their terms, then you have to view that as this still not happening.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. And for those who say that the ball's in our court, it's not. It's in theirs, because they have to decide if they're going to cut their losses or rather not make the money that they want to and give them away for that, or worse, for free. So yeah, the ball's in their court. It's not in ours. So that's just really important there to sign it off. So I don't think it's going to happen, guys. Really, we only give our opinions. It's a fan channel at the end of the day, so I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but this is our opinion. Obviously, make of that what you will. I know we all have different opinions, but I would absolutely say fair play, fair enough if this happens. I just don't think it will, is my opinion. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, what happens. We're obviously going to be busy. We know we want to we know we want to bring in players ahead of the Club World Cup, because we just have to make additions. So expect us to be busy. Obviously, the Delap announcement should be shortly coming. I think that's any minute now. It's taken a bit of a while, hasn't it? But yeah, we will have a look and see. But to everyone who watched today, thank you so much. As always, your support is massively appreciated here on Chelsea Fan TV. Make sure you leave a like for us if you haven't already, and also check out mine and Charlie's YouTube channels, which I will leave in the description down below. I also uploaded a transfer video earlier today, so if you want to head over and see that. But yeah, Charlie, thanks for joining me. We'll obviously be back in the next week or so to talk more transfer news. And we'll see what business Chelsea get up to, good or bad, or somewhere in the middle. We'll find out soon. But thank you so much, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and take care.